Resolution 2-2012. You're informed that Scott Stilson, Vincent Drive, is recording tonight's meeting for posting on YouTube. This meeting is also available and being recorded electronically on the Zoom platform. In accordance with Resolution 20-2023, the rules of conduct for public meetings and public comment periods shall be observed and are listed at the bottom of the agenda. The Board of Supervisors thanks the Elverston Honeybrook Emergency Medical Services for bringing the new ambulance purchased using grant monies and donations for the public to inspect ahead of tonight's meeting, and which is parked in the parking lot. Thank you for bringing that out.
Happy to go.
Next, we will move on to the conditional use application.
And one last announcement, the Board of Supervisors did hold an executive session on March 5th from 6:15 to 7:00 p.m. to discuss a potential real estate acquisition. Okay, move to the conditional use hearing. This is a continuation of the conditional use hearing on the application of Leonard C. Guinta Enterprises for a mixed-use residential development at 3845/3855 Horseshoe Pike. That hearing was commenced on February 12th and continued at that time to this evening as announced that the evidentiary record in this matter is closed at this time. The board held executive sessions to deliberate on February 18th from 6:15 to 7:30 p.m. and on March 5th from 7:00 to 7:15 p.m. We continued the hearing to this evening for purposes of announcing a decision, but prior to the board doing that, if there are any public comments that anyone would like to make with regard to the application, as we are in a public meeting, we would open the floor to that at this time. I will note those comments are not part of the evidentiary record that the board can consider as formal evidence for purposes of a decision. Are there any public comments?
Just a name?
Yes, say your name, please.
John Kaufman.
Yes.
Just got concerns on noise and water on that. Partial.
Thank you, Mr. Kaufman. And those are part of the formal record from last month's hearing. Thank you again. Any last comments? Hearing none, the board has asked me to read a proposed motion regarding that application. I would offer to the board a motion to approve the request of Leonard C. Guinta Enterprises for conditional use approval to establish a planned mixed-use residential development containing an existing residential dwelling, an existing commercial/retail building, and 6 new single-family detached dwellings on applicant's property located at 3845/3855 Horseshoe Pike, tax parcel 22-7-38, subject to the following conditions. 1, all existing and proposed residential dwellings on the property shall be utilized as single-family dwellings and shall not be converted to contain more than 1 dwelling unit per structure. 2, the commercial building shall be utilized as a pet grooming business, with any change to another commercial use or expansion in the future requiring further conditional use approval. 3, at the time of land development, the applicant shall use good faith efforts to reconfigure internal access and parking layout to potentially include removing spaces from the main entrance road, imposing traffic calming devices, or similar improvements designed to ensure the safety of all pedestrian and vehicular traffic moving to the site. 4, applicant shall use good faith efforts during land development to establish an enhanced landscape buffer along the northwestern property line, including staggered evergreen vegetation designed to establish a full visual screen within 5 years of planting. And 5, any rental agreement for the residential homes on the property shall include an acknowledgement by the tenant that the subject property adjoins properties in commercial/industrial use with potential for noise disturbances. Can I get a motion to approve with those conditions?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor? Resources. Obviously, the applicant will still have to go through subsequent land development for that project. The written decision in this matter will be issued within 45 days of this evening's hearing. Following the date of that written decision, there's an appeal period of 30 days. A copy of the written decision will be provided to all parties at that hearing. Mr. Kaufman, that does include you. And I do have your addresses provided to me last month. With that, I would look for a motion to adjourn the hearing.
Motion to adjourn.
Second? Second. All in favor? Aye. All right, hearing adjourned at 7:06. Ms. Chairman, I turn the meeting back to you. Thank you.
Then we move to public comment.
The board has asked me to conduct public comment for the meeting this evening. I believe Greg, the township does have a public comment policy that is part of the agenda packet. Allows 3 minutes per person. Manager will keep time. I would open the floor to comments from the right side of the room.
You know, your PA system isn't working very well. I can hardly hear you back here.
Yes, sir, we have an upgrade coming next month. Do you need to sit forward? I can put a chair up here.
No, it's all right.
Yeah, we can keep our voices up. Thank you for that reminder while we're not amplified. Any other public comments on this side of the room? Any public comments on this side of the room? Let's start in the back.
My name is Lorraine Louie, Louie, 275 Vincent Drive. Since we went to the one comment period per meeting now, I would like to suggest that the public comment be held at the end of the meeting instead of in the beginning, and that will give all the residents a chance to comment on what's been discussed today, versus at the start of the meeting, we're just warming up to the events and everybody might not be warmed up to comment publicly. So I would suggest that the comment period be held towards the end of the meeting and not the beginning.
Thank you. If I may, just for public awareness, there is an obligation under the Sunshine Law that we do afford opportunity for public comment on any actions on the agenda that the board may take action on. I believe that's the reason that it was placed at the beginning, but we acknowledge your comment. I just want everyone to understand that that is part of the dynamic.
Yeah, and this is normally at like 7:05 to 7:10 or something like that. And sometimes people are getting here late and they miss that opportunity to voice their opinions.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'd same comment as her.
Could you state your name, please?
Karen, Custer Force. Basically the same comments for hers. I do not get out of work until 7. I can't get here in time to make a comment in the beginning of the meetings without being docked and paid. And I would like to, there may be some things in which I would like to say. Or, maybe turn the Zoom on for those 3 minutes, if anybody has a comment that's like on their way here, then we can speak up, and then you can mute us again. Secondly, the thing is, you said to me, if you had any concerns or problems or whatever, you can eat before the meeting or after the meeting. I was wondering, is that because the videotaping is completed and you don't want that to be put on video so that people will know the questions and the answers? This way I could say this and you could say that and then turn around and bring it back and say, oh, I never said this, because, it's on video. Thirdly, I don't know if anybody knows, but I've been dealing with Achilles tendon problem, and I have a note from my doctor and from my lawyer stating that I need to stay off my foot and not stand much unless I have to. I have to at work, but I also have time where I can sit and stay. They both said to me that, sitting here talking is not a problem. I should be allowed to sit and talk so that everybody could hear me. And if there's a problem, which I will be having them send you certified mail of the agreements of my situation. And I think that's it.
Thank you very much. Is there one other hand on this? Sorry, the second one.
Gary Westlake, 2055 Cambridge Road. I just learned before the meeting here that some correspondence has taken place with Representative Williams, and I appreciate that, and thank you for that. I'm just a little concerned that I didn't get copies on that. Warren and I have been talking about Cambridge Road for over a year, maybe a year and a half now. He's got my email address, so I'm wondering, in future correspondence, could you also include me and copy me or forward anything that you get from Representative Williams regarding the state highway? Also, just a progress report. At last month's meeting, it was still cold temperatures, but now the frost is coming out of the ground. And Cambridge Road has gone from poor to deplorable. It's a two-lane, or it was at one time a two-lane road. It is now a one-lane road straight down the middle. It's about the only way you can traverse Cambridge Road. So I appreciate if the township continues to take a strong effort to whatever capacity you can to influence PennDOT and the state legislature to make progress on Cambridge Road. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, my name is Scott Tomson. I live at 2455 Cambridge Road. And again, I know, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I know the Cambridge Road is a state road. However, it's been patched and repaired. I don't know. I've been a resident at that address for 22 years. And I'm sorry, I don't know other than you. My temperament is not geared for these situations. Last month, a hole in Cambridge Road cost me a $200 tire. How did it go? 2 years ago, it cost me a $200 tire and a $600 wheel. I'm looking to replace a car, and I'm thinking I need a tank. My neighbor approached me this evening and said he was going to come down here in reference to Cambridge Road. Now, like I said, I know it's a state road, and I said I don't know what the township's going to do. But obviously, the residents of Cambridge Road have no fault. They were out there fixing it today at the end by Nob Hill. It's all going to fall apart in a month, 2 months max. They did it in the fall. It fell apart before the first snow. I probably took a dozen pictures. I don't know if any of you are aware how bad it really is, but I stuck my tape measure down one hole over the culvert pipe that runs underneath the road that is, in my estimation, in my humble opinion, 80% blocked, and it floods. I stuck my tape measure all the way down to the top of the culvert pipe, 36 inches. I have a picture of it. In the 22 years, almost 23 years that I've lived there, the roadway has been tarred and chipped 3 times to my recollection. The problem stems from when they milled the right-hand edges of the road and did not seal the seam. And the water gets in there and freezes and thaws and heaves the road. Now, I'm not a Department of Public Works person or a roadway person, but the road has not been fixed right once in the 22 years that I've lived there. I don't know what else to say. Vote them all out and vote new ones in, and evidently that doesn't work either. So I guess I gotta go, what do I gotta do? You know, go down to Home Depot and buy a pallet of dry patch and do it myself? I mean,
Thank you.
so,
Thank you.
my 3 minutes are up. I
I
appreciate
think
your
the
time.
board hears the concern. Appreciate the comment.
You have a good night.
Morning, guys. Good afternoon. My name is Bill Schoell. I'm Chief of Staff to State Representative Dan Williams' office. I will address Cambridge Road. I'm sorry I wasn't able to get on the agenda. I'll try to keep the 3 minutes.
You got more than 3 minutes.
Okay. I hope everybody, if you can't hear me, just let me know. I can be louder. Okay. So, Cambridge Road, as this gentleman just said, was patched today. That's certainly not permanent. We have agreement from PennDOT that I just received last week. Cambridge Road will be milled and paved in the year 2027.
Oh my God.
I'm glad to explain why in a moment. Give me a moment. The culvert, the issue with the culvert Mr. Westlake has is going to be fixed, as I think I told you. It's scheduled for July of this year. And they're going to replace it with, I think it's a 54-inch oval culvert, which should prevent most problems. I'll be honest with you, when we have those major flood events, like Ida, or the storm before Ida in 2021, you're probably still going to have flooding. But you shouldn't have flooding unless it's a major event. I want to be very clear here. I'm not making excuses. I just want to let people know why this is like this. Okay? I don't know if everybody is aware, we're in what they call PennDOT Region 6. Region 6 includes Chester County, Delaware County, Montgomery County, Bucks County, and the city of Philadelphia. Okay? Has the most roads, the most people, the most state bridges. It's a matter of resources. Cambridge Road certainly should not have taken the time it has. Quite frankly, neither should 322 or this part of Route 10. Right? It's a matter of resources. Okay. Again, I just went down the road today myself on my way here. I was here Saturday. It wasn't patched. I'm assuming they patched it today. It was pretty fresh. Quite frankly, it's not the best patch job. Right? What I want to let the township know and the citizens know, I have a contact at PennDOT. That contact deals with about 60 people at the same level I am, in Philadelphia, in Montgomery County. So let's keep in mind, we're talking about PA Turnpike, Route 30 bypass, Route 1 bypass, I-95, Schuylkill Expressway, Blue Route, all major, not to mention all the way through Philadelphia, right? The same region, the same resources are taking care of all of that. So when it comes to something like the bypass, what they say, sees 50,000 cars each way every day, on average. Right? Cambridge Road sees maybe 1,000. Right? I'm not saying it's not important.
So it doesn't matter?
No, I'm not saying it doesn't matter. I'm not saying it's not important. But you got to understand, if there's potholes on the bypass, which there are, which are popping tires, right? That's going to get the priority. I'm sorry, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that's the way it is, and that's not going to change. Doesn't matter who's on it. Okay.
So there's a lot of,
I'm sorry.
What about the fire company?
What about the fire company?
Yeah.
I will be glad to address the fire company if you let me finish this. Okay. What we need you to do, I'm with them all the time. Okay. What we need the township to do and individuals to do is let PennDOT know. Okay. There's a phone number, real simple, 1-800-FIX-ROAD.
Is that your job?
What's that?
Is that your job?
It is my job, sir, and I do it, trust me, I'm on there all the time. So I don't call the number, I go to the website, okay? The more emails they see, individually, not emails, email addresses, the more priority they put on things, okay? I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. Cambridge Road, I've written on at least 3 or 4 times from 2 different email addresses, right? When you see, when these patches start coming up, get a picture, okay? The website is, you want to jot this down, it's very easy to find Google, customercare.pennDOT.gov. Okay?
There's also a link on our website directly to that.
Very good. Or you can call 1-800-FIX-ROAD. I wish I had better news for you. It is like pulling teeth to get them to commit to 2027. I can't get that commitment on Route 322. I've been trying long.
Excuse me, but why is it you can send people out there today to waste 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours on the road and do nothing, instead of sending people out there one time and do nothing?
I'm sorry, sir. I agree, it's a horrible patch job, and patches are not going to fix that road. But I think it's better tonight than it was this morning.
Oh, yeah, but by tomorrow morning, it'll be just as bad.
Well, shortly, I
I live right there at Knob Hill, so I can come out either entrance onto Cambridge, where they were working today.
Sure, and I
And
wish
they
I
weren't
could.
working today. There
Right?
was 3 of them sitting down on the grass talking, one directing traffic and one sitting in the truck.
Right.
And one poor guy putting stuff in with a hose.
Okay.
That was the extent of the repair work today. I mean,
I have a question.
is that what our taxes are paying for?
Yes.
Nothing?
So again, I'm sorry that you think it's nothing.
Well,
It's something. Is it enough? No. But it's not nothing.
I see, okay, that's the way to look at it.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm just trying to be practical about it.
That isn't practical.
I wish I could tell you that I can pick up the phone and PennDOT's waiting with a crew to come build and pave this road. Right? I wish I could say, look, they're sitting over there at the end of the bypass, the PennDOT station, just hanging out, waiting for something to do. But they're not. It's a long schedule. I wish it was sooner, and I cannot express to anybody in this room
With all due
how
respect,
difficult it is to get them to lock into 2027.
with all due respect, a long schedule. I've been here 23 years, and it hasn't been fixed right in 23 years. What's the life expectancy? I mean, it's like the man's saying, my mother used to say, you're being penny wise and pound foolish, you're throwing good money after bad money.
Couldn't agree more.
Thank you for your time. Have a good night.
I'm sorry, thanks, sir. I'm sorry, I didn't take over your meeting.
No, we want you to be here. I think you're
So
right.
how can we get rid of the management people that are managing this and put in people that know how to manage?
I have no idea. I wish I could tell you.
You mean one day? Bill, let's get 50 Amish men out there with our own paper.
I know people with bulldozers, we can bulldoze that road in no time if that's what we have to do.
I'm not sure, but I don't think that would be legal. You're welcome to it. I can't help you with the state troopers.
It'd be better road than it is now.
It may be. It may be. I'm not saying it wouldn't be.
I put a tree, I wouldn't put a tree.
Yeah.
First off, I appreciate you coming out, and I appreciate the supervisors bringing you out here for this. So I do have a question. I see that Mr. Williams got grants
Yes.
for roads
Yes.
in Chester County.
Cover,
Something
yeah.
like 5 or 6 grants,
Right.
which I don't understand because our taxes should be paying for these roads to be repaired.
Right.
But if you have to go that route, because we are desperate for Cambridge Road to be, what would it take to get him to get us a grant to get that road fixed?
So the issue with that is, and this is bureaucracy at its worst, okay? a PennDOT road is a state road. PennDOT is responsible for fixing that road. Okay? PennDOT does not get grants per se. So the grants you saw were all local roads. They're municipal roads. So the municipality, Honeybrook Township has, I would guess, at least 50, 60 miles of municipal roads, not to mention bridges.
52.
I'm sorry?
52.
52, pretty good guess, right? So they have to pay those roads out of township funds. So there are grants available for townships, other municipalities, to get the money to pave those roads.
So those roads, okay, got it.
And that's the way that
Got
works, and like, that grant money's harder to get.
Thanks for
than
clarifying.
to get.
Yes, Bill, I know we've had this conversation, you and I have talked a number of times about this, and again, I appreciate you coming out tonight too. But we the people are in a climate that cannot tolerate waste, fraud, and abuse. And what you're telling us is a blatant example of waste, fraud, and abuse, that it's gonna take 2 years for a road that wasn't fixed 15 years ago correctly. And, or maintained, and a culvert pipe that may or may not work. The one by the schoolhouse wasn't even installed properly or level. It just seems like a bunch of pie crust promises, quite honestly.
I'm sorry, that's what I have. If you would rather me lie to you and tell you what you want to hear,
no.
I'd rather not do that.
No, but I'm just saying
Okay.
that.
So I'm giving you the reality of the situation. And trust me, I'm not exaggerating when I'm saying it's not easy to get PennDOT to put something on their schedule 2 years out.
But as I've
They
said
work
to you,
5, 10
as
years
I've said to you
on a regular
numerous
basis.
times, why does PennDOT get a buy on this? Why does everybody make an excuse for PennDOT? Why can't branches be shook and cages rattled
Right.
at PennDOT to make something happen?
So here's the thing.
Mr.
Mr.
Schoell,
Leslie.
Yes.
I don't want to end productive discussion here.
Sure.
Would you be willing to spend some time in the lobby with the folks that have concerns on this specific issue?
Sure.
Continue
Yeah,
to
I would-
entertain
I would love that.
questions?
Would be great.
I mean, there may be other folks with public comments on,
Sure.
and not that this isn't a township concern also, but some of this is representative, their questions.
Oh, it certainly is. It's a state issue, and I'm sorry.
Focus, and we're happy to have you here and have a forum for this, or whether it's now or
No.
at the end of the meeting to continue a dialogue.
That would be fine. And again, thank you for the time that you've given me.
I appreciate it.
For those of you who won't come out the lobby, these are our regular flyers. I'm gonna leave these on the table out here. All of our contact information is on here. Feel free to reach out. Yeah, my name is Bill, it's Bill Show. My name is Bill. If you're going after Bill, I'm the only one there. So please do reach out. I'll be glad to speak with anybody about this issue. For those of you that would like, I'm going to adjourn into the lobby, and we can discuss this further.
And how do you spell your last name?
SCHOELL.
Okay. Thank you.
Please don't take that as the township not caring about what's.
Oh, no, not at all, not at all. I appreciate the time, great. I don't want to get in the way of the meeting, so thank you.
Thank you. Was there anyone else that had public comment on this side of the room? Okay. Sir?
Hi, my name is Dan Kaufman. I am at 1622 Cambridge Road, and I'm disappointed at you guys. Now you want to silence us. You don't want it on the record what's being said in here. We get 3 minutes to talk, which is barely enough, but it's okay. I do want to thank you for bringing Bill Schoell in here tonight to have this discussion about Cambridge Road. That's why I'm here, just to, I guess, exaggerate on it, because it's going, like one of them said, from poor to deplorable. It's just, it's not even fit to travel on anymore unless you drive down the middle, which is what we have to do. And us horse and buggy people, if there's cars coming from behind, I'm not even gonna pull over. Like, you're gonna wait until I feel like pulling over or I have a good spot where I can pull over. That's how bad the road is. So, I guess I need to remind you again, as elected officials that you guys, we're paying, you're working for us. We're giving you your paycheck. So you guys need to do something.
Keep laughing.
But the state obviously doesn't care about our road, so why can't we make Cambridge Road the township road? I know we've gone round and round about this before, but you say there's not enough funding, it's a burden on the taxpayers. I don't think anybody would mind if we would have a decent road to drive. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kaufman. Sir?
My name's Len Lario, I live in Mount Hill, right off of Cambridge. My only concern is, aside from Cambridge, as bad as it is the eyesore at Park and Cambridge. What is the township doing about this? Are they gonna have the people clean this up? That fire, the barn, the roof is off, there's junk, trash, tractors, burnout cars, everything in a lot. I mean, it's starting to look like, I hate to say it, but Kensington. Doesn't the township care about Cambridge Road in any respect, whether it be the roads or the atmosphere or the climate of the area? I think, the township's very lax. It's been a long time, and it should have been cleaned up by now. And, there's nothing else I can say, but I hope somebody looks into it.
The township is aware of it. Thank you for the comment. Great. Seeing no other, we'll turn it back to the consent agenda. Thank you. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda? All the reports, 1 through 12.
Make the motion to approve 1 through 12.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next, we'll move on to department reports. First, board supervisors.
A couple quick notes. Western Chester County Council of Governments. I think the township also posted something on the social media. There's an application for $2,500 grant, education grant. If anyone's interested in looking at that, you can go on the website or there's a copy of it. You're welcome to check that out. Here's a Honeybrook Township Military Banner Program, something, I guess, a bit overdue, and the borough included us in on this, starting this year. I believe that was also posted on social media. And there's a couple packets here for anybody who's interested in the application. It's kind of real short, I believe it's due by the end of the month. That's right, like March 31st, something, to the borough.
So that it can be installed by Memorial Day this year.
So apologize for the lateness of that, but that was kind of getting the stuff situated with the borough and with us and agreements, et cetera. So if anybody's interested in that, then it's online or there's a copy. And quick note, we talked about the ambulance. Congratulations on the new ambulance. Much appreciated being a part of that.
We very much appreciate the ongoing support and the help with the grant and everything else.
Excellent. And also, I think there was a comment too that you're getting new AED equipment.
Those arrived and went in service at the very beginning of the month.
That's all I have. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Great. Next is Don Johnson, Public Works.
Don could not be here tonight, so I have a report on his behalf. There was a busy winter season this year. We used approximately 600 tons of salt and 150 tons of anti-skid. And with the high winds that happen frequently, there were a number of downed trees and limbs as well. I think they're happy spring is very close. The new Max mower has been delivered to the Public Works Department, and all staff over there have been trained on its use and maintenance. The roads crew is patching some holes on township roads, and soon will be starting to clean out ditches in anticipation of spring rains. And this week, the sweeping up of the development streets will be completed. And that is all for Dawn. Thank you. Next, we'll move on to Kristy. Thank you. The date has been set for my workshop at the PSATS convention in Hershey. It'll be on Monday afternoon. And speaking of PSATS, I got a personal email asking if we would be in the Parade of Flags this year. So we have until April to decide, but people really love our flag.
And I think you did a great job.
So, that is all for me.
What is your,
The name of the workshop is Your Number Up? Best Management Practices for Addressing.
great, thank you. Next is Warren Bernstein.
As usual, I'll ask you to accept my written manager's report. Just to note that there was a comment today about our audio system. The commissioning of the new audio and upgrade to the AV system in the meeting room right here is going to start on April 7th and April 8th. And it should be handed over to us that day, so we should have it for the April meeting. And that'll include 2 video screens for public facing. There'll be a confidence monitor replacing this in front of the podium. We will have a handheld microphone for those that are unable to stand. And then we also have hearing capable systems that we can either have and offer to someone. And there's also going to be a application that someone can download on their phone, and if they have hearing aids or ear pods or something like that, they can be able to tune in, and then they'll be able to hear it from any part of the world.
And these are going to go?
These are going to go. We're going to get a few more of these types. The DS is going, and they're going to have 4 movable tables. So when EMS comes and does first aid classes here, they're going to be able to reconfigure the room. That'll allow the municipality to offer more opportunities for the community to use it and have it set up in a way that works for them.
Great, thank you. Point of order. While we're talking about Warren's report, many of the questions that folks have about what's going on with X, Y, or Z are actually compiled in the manager's report. So it's worth taking a look at. It's in the agenda packet that is publicly available.
And that shows open complaints, enforcement actions, closure rates, and where different land development permits are in. And then you can also see part of that in the solicitor report and also on the engineer report.
Thank you. Next, Honeybrook Community Library.
We don't have anybody from the library, but we do see they have a report attached, which is public facing as well. The library is back open to normal hours, so please go visit and take a look at what they did with their grant money.
Next, Land Preservation Committee.
I don't see anybody, but again, we did have some easements closed last month on 2 properties. The donation of the current property, and then with the parcel on the other side of the township. And then we have 2 more potentially in the works for this year, but we don't have more progress on that.
Planning Commission.
I'm here, yeah, but Jeff wants to give a report, go ahead.
We have 2 agenda items coming up under new business, one's a minor subdivision plan, and one's some additional waiver requests for a project that received land development approval. So we'll handle those under new business.
Thank you. Recreation and parks.
Thanks. Plans are underway for the grand opening of the skate park. It's coming along pretty good. I believe we'll have a food truck there. We're starting to reach out to some of the skate clubs, and there is a lot of enthusiasm. It should be a pretty big event, and we're really excited. Everyone's on board with the Park and Rec group, and so that'll be coming up on the 26th of April. And there'll be information on the township website, plus there'll be some posters in some of the businesses in the town. Second thing I wanted to talk about is we are going to be more involved in the green Pennsylvania, green roads. I don't think we have a date yet, but when we do, and if we do, it'll be on the website. What we'll be doing is we'll be meeting at either the township or the park, and we will pick certain roads and clean up along the sides of the roads. This will be sometime in April, and we could really use some volunteer help. I know it seems like we have a lot of Honeybrook residents who care, and this would be a great opportunity to come on out and join forces and clean up some of these roads, because, you know, as bad as the potholes are, I see a lot of trash on the side of the roads too. You know, I travel Cambridge Road all the time. At this time, I'd like to introduce Jackson Short. Jackson is working on his Eagle project for Honeybrook Troop 9, and it's going to be an information kiosk. So I'd like to introduce him.
Jackson,
And his father, Cody, who's the scout.
I apologize, we only made 6 comments.
No worries.
Why don't you go through your notes, so I will help us.
I'm standing back here. So, basically I'm here to finalize it. The design is completed, brother helped me with it. Thank you. It was requested that the footprint be smaller than the board was, so now it's like 4 feet by 6 feet. On the back of the package you guys all got should be like a cost estimate or spreadsheet from number one. We're fully funded, including the cabinets. It's also brought to my attention that it needs to be mobile in case we need to move it, so we're gonna do that.
So what is it there?
And we have to go out and buy
And install it, so it looks like this.
Yes.
So you're not using any township funds, so you have to fully, so would you like this young gentleman to move forward with this project?
Please. Sure. So Jackson raised most of the funds, by putting on a spaghetti dinner for Lions Club a few months ago. And we have other folks who are contributing to make a difference. On the spreadsheet, the amount without the cabinet is fully funded. The remainder for the cabinet is, we have Lions Club, and other private organizations. So I think we're all set. And Jackson's also arranged for the scouts to start building. I guess the last piece he has to read up that.
Somebody turn 18.
Do you need the board to make a motion to approve the construction of the project?
Yes.
Make the motion.
I'll second. All in
favor?
Aye.
Thank you all.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I know Kevin forgot to mention, at the next Park and Rec meeting, we are starting the jump, James Over Memorial Park Phase 2 revisit, and we're looking for what?
Yeah, thanks. I apologize for not bringing that poster. But we are, in March, we will be starting to listen to the public about any ideas for going forward with any changes we're going to make on the park, okay? We need citizen feedback. We also need people to be on the board. It's once a month for 6 months, and it won't take very long. It'll be Wednesday nights, very short period of time. Not only would we like people to use the park, but we'd also like people to tell us, you know, what direction they think the improvements should go. So looking forward to seeing a couple of these faces here. Some of these concerned citizens can get involved in the township in another different way. Thanks.
We do have flyers for that, Kevin, in the lobby.
Yeah, and I will hand them out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Warren.
We'll move on to new business. The first item is to approve the list of bills for payment as prepared by the treasurer and reduction in letters of credit as recommended by the township engineer.
I'll make a motion to approve the as opposed to be.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Next is subdivision plan number 2025-1, 155 and 164 Mount Pleasant Road, tax parcel numbers 22-6-54 and 22-6-57, separating farm parcels held in common on opposite sides of the road into separate parcels.
Correct, that subdivision plan, the lots extend currently across both sides of Mount Pleasant Road, but it's held in a singular deed. So they're creating two lots divided by the natural boundary of the roadway. The individual lots do comply with our zoning ordinance requirements for lot size and things like that. There is no proposed improvements on either lot. So the planning commission at their meeting last month did make a recommendation to the board that you guys would create conditional final plan approval, and that would be based upon them complying with the township engineer's review letter dated February 20th, 2025. They did not need any waivers for this project. Does anybody have any questions on what that plan entails?
Is anyone here for that plan? Do you have anything to add, Dia? What was there?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Next. Waiver requests from the following sections for the conditionally approved land development plan at 2024-1 of Vernon McIntyre, 3766 Horseshoe Heights, tax parcel number 22-7-77.1. Saldo section 615.3.c to allow a driveway entrance wider than 36 feet without a median. Saldo section 615.1.f and 617.1L and 617.10 to allow gravel paving for phase 1, provided that the entire gravel area is paved and funds secured as part of phase 2. And Saldo section 410 to allow a single plan approval, but to allow phase 2 security to be deferred until prior to building permit issuance.
This plan is for Vernon McIntyre, 3766 Horseshoe Pike, which is the property to the left of the car wash and pharmacy property if you're standing on the roadway. Currently, there's an existing single-family dwelling on that property. Vernon's intention in the conditionally approved land development plan showed replacement of that existing single-family dwelling with a two-family dwelling unit, and also in the rear of that property, a proposed contractor shop. So with the latter two things that Laura read, Vernon's desire is to do the dwelling construction first, and then subsequently, at a later date, do the contractor shop. So he's asking to only post security for phase one, which would include the driveway off of 322, the parking area for the houses, and the driveway will extend a short portion past where the driveway turn off to the right is to allow vehicles to maneuver backwards. There would be notes on the plan that no building permit would be issued for phase two, which would be the contractor shop, until such time that he posts the necessary security. He will be required to show that grading and stormwater and the like work if phase one is the only phase that's to be built. He requested that the driveway beyond the paving for the entrance that's required off of 322 be allowed to remain gravel while it is just the house on the property in phase one. And then he would agree, as part of the phase two security, to secure funds to pave both that residential gravel driveway area as well as everything around the contractor shop. And his other waiver to allow driveway entrance wider than 36 feet without a median. The bulk of the driveway entrance is not that wide. It's when you add in the wider radii that PennDOT requires time into 322 to allow for truck maneuvering. That line, more or less kind of at the actual meeting of the roadway, is wider than 36 feet. So the Planning Commission made favorable recommendations on the granting of those waivers and deferrals. Bryn Schaefer, Mr. McIntyre's engineer, is here. If you have any specific questions for him. Bryn, do you have anything to add?
No, you got summarized the relief we were requesting on the plan changes.
Mr. Ford, any
So
questions?
yeah, can you explain to me again the gravel,
The gravel.
the paved from the road?
Do you want to see the plan? Would that be helpful? I don't know if you're
Well,
like the plan.
maybe,
So-
maybe not, maybe state clarification, so we're gonna pave from the road in X amount of feet, and not all the way back, or not paving where the house parking is, et cetera.
Correct. Under phase one, where he's just building that twin dwelling unit, there would be paving for a certain number of feet as required by PennDOT off of 322. Then it would turn into gravel, the driveway comes up, and then it goes off to the right to the driveways and parking in front of the two houses. That would be made as gravel.
Until such time that.
Right, he may pave it at any time, it is being designed as an impervious cover, but as a, maximum, at the time he goes to build that contractor shop, he would be required to pave that gravel area for the house as well as all of the gravel area around the contractor shop. So it
Is
was,
there a time frame? I remember in the conversation with the planning committee, they were talking about time frames. You said something about doing it within a few months or 6 months.
right, I think.
My
that-
concern would be is, what if phase two never happens, or phase two is 5 years down the road? Is there some kind of
Correct.
time frame?
I believe the planning commission was ultimately agreeable that if it remained just a residential use, they were okay with not ultimately requiring the paving there, because they felt it was the truck traffic that was gonna create more wear and tear on that gravel driveway, for that. So, they, the
Kids
planning
with bicycles
commission.
or playing, it's not a concern?
The Planning Commission didn't take it and make a point of it as one. One of the things mentioned was, ultimately maintenance, if you go to do snow removal. Vernon indicated this would be a rental unit. That lot is remaining in common ownership, so Vernon will own that dwelling and, rent it out and be responsible for the maintenance. So that was on him, but, the board can make the decision that you guys feel is appropriate. It was just the Planning Commission's recommendation that they were agreeable while it was just residential to allow that balance of the driveway to remain gravel.
Just so the board, Mr. McIntyre is on Zoom as well. Any questions for him, then Mr. Shaver?
Yeah, we can hear you, Aaron.
Yeah, my only concern is, and I get it for being part of your planning commission meetings and costs, et cetera. My concern is who the house gets rented to. Again, you have kids, and the kids, potential injuries, riding bikes on snow, or having to play closer to the road to get onto a good solid hopscotch or whatever they're going to play, level ground. And then on top of the road maintenance, plowing and plowing up stones, and it creates ruts and divots, and then that becomes a triple hazard to somebody coming out the house, again, depending on whether or not knowing who's renting to it. So I don't necessarily have a problem with what you're doing and why you're doing it. I guess I strongly urge that you think about the paving part and not when it just gets to the second phase, at least a good part of that driveway where people are parking and elderly person getting out, snow and ice on snow, snow and stones, and that's kind of a problem.
I appreciate that. There's hundreds of road properties in the township that are still snow now. But I keep the properties in good shape. I've owned it for 30 years and I don't want to get in all the time. It would be my desire to have it done in 2025, paved. But I don't want to commit to that right now. I think with the aspect of living in the township, you should just approve it with the exceptions I'm looking for.
Depending on how the other supervisors feel, you could, if that can weigh in on the legitimacy of this. If we don't secure it in phase one, could there be a plan note that if phase two doesn't occur within, or probably by a certain, date, maybe, you have this paving season that goes to like October 15th, so maybe by October 15th of 2026, phase two hasn't been constructed, for the paving, then we would be obligated to.
Even a year or so, if it's 5 years or 10 years, and it's just number of phase two.
So he's fine with that, with that year.
I'm sorry, but you know.
Okay, so Vernon, you, would be agreeable to paving that residential area by, say like October 1st of 2026?
Correct, that would be perfect.
So that gives them 2 paving seasons. Because we don't know exactly when he's gonna start the house, so I don't wanna limit it to this paving season. Okay, so then if you were to, when you guys, if you're willing to make motions on those, you would amend the second one that talks about provide the gravel, entire gravel area is paved and front secure as part of phase 2, and in the event phase 2 is not completed by October 1st, 2026, the residential area will be paved by said date.
May I offer this one here? Mr. McIntyre say that he said if he doesn't start construction for another 6 months, can we just make it 18 months after final construction or something? Is it a better place?
You could say 18 months from issuance of the building permit for the house.
This way, if something ties you up, or
Yeah.
and you don't get to it, like,
Right, we don't want to have to
something.
change something that's not built yet.
Yeah, that's acceptable, that works for me.
Okay, so you would be adding and pave phase 1 within 18 months and safer for the house. Okay. Do you have any other questions before the board considers the motion for the waiver for referral solicitor? Would you like me to read the motion? Okay, as Beth did earlier, I would offer to the Board of Supervisors to make a motion to grant the following waivers and deferrals for the Vernon McIntyre 3766 Horseshoe Pike Land Development Plan, to include Saldo Section 615.3.c, to allow the driveway entrance width to be wider than 36 feet without a median, to Saldo Sections 615.1.f, 617.1.l, and 617.1. Letter O, to allow gravel paving for phase 1, provided that it is paved within 18 months of issuance of a UNO, and if phase 2 is started within that time, the entire gravel area for the house and the phase 2 building is secured as part of the phase 2 security. And lastly, Saldo Section 410, to allow the single plan to be recorded, but to allow a phase line for the residential unit to be in phase 1 and the contractor shop to be in phase 2.
Make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is to approve the inherent low bidder for the 2025 line painting project, DE Gemmel, Inc., in the total amount of $26,394.65.
So the township, put out bids and did the notice to advertise for seal coating and line painting. The township opened up the bids, this morning at 11:15. I opened the bids, they were recorded by Kristy, and Tomson, roadmaster, was present. And there was also a bidder from Guinta Incorporated who did bid on the line painting. We opened up the 2 bids, and after validating that they were filled out properly and contained the required information, the low bid was $26,394.65. From DE Chemical Incorporated, they did our work last year. Master was happy with their work, and I asked that the board to approve the low bid.
Do I hear a motion?
Make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Next is to approve the apparent low bidder for the seal coat project 2025 Asphalt Industries in the amount of $166,400.
Yes, this was also a bit of today. My apologies for not noting it. For those that have the agenda, it is on the back page. We received 3 bids, and after reviewing the bids, opening them, seeing people opened, reviewed, and recorded them, the lowest bidder was Asphalt Industries at a price of $166,400. I asked that the board award that contract after this is out. It doesn't make it.
Quick question. I didn't see it, so I apologize if I missed it. Do you have any idea the year-to-year increase between what we've done in the past?
Sure, so,
Just a rough.
so previously, the township would typically undertake road paving projects, seal coat, and line painting every single year. Last year, the municipality decided to do every other year, so we're actually doubling the size because last year we did almost 5 miles of paving, so this year we'll probably do about it might be about 6 to 8 miles of seal coat, and then next year we would do a larger road project. So the totals pretty much remain the same, it's just that it's biannually versus every single year.
However, the unit prices,
The unit prices will be last year's minutes, so I would go back and check.
And these will be paid out of liquid fuel funds, so they do meet the PennDOT recommended standards that they use for the bidding process.
That's all I got.
can I hear a motion? I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Next is replacement of the generator for the Township Administration Building in the amount of $43,036.
So this was discussed during the 2025 budgeting process. Our current diesel generator has undergone extensive yearly maintenance, which equates to about $3,000 a year. The issue is that the diesel stays a long time into the tanks because it's not used often. So this new generator is going to be propane, so we're not going to have the issues with repairs due to the diesel becoming stale. It's due for replacement. We are going to get a trade-in quote from the vendor, and we'll check to see if that is a good amount. If not, we would put the existing unit on usage, which we use for most of our large equipment sales. We will be buying a propane tank from another company. We will be digging and installing that propane. So this bid is for the generator and the hookups. And we do, they are co-stars.
Does that purchase come with any service? First year service or 3 years of service, or is it all?
I don't have that for you. We typically have an annual maintenance contract to deal with the generator or the township side. I'm assuming there's going to be it comes with a 2-year standard generator warranty. So anything that would go wrong would be covered over that first 2 years.
Make the motion approved.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Next is resolution 2025-11, approving a 2025 supplemental budget appropriation for a grant reimbursable ambulance purchase for Honeybrook Elverson EMS. Yeah, I can just chime in. This is just essentially, because we are spending this money, it was not something we budgeted for. We are approving the expenditure of those funds from unencumbered funds, but we will get reimbursed the money back once that grant arrives. This is just kind of documenting that that process did occur, which is how you see the ambulance sitting outside the township building this evening. But essentially, at the end of the day, it will be a wash for township, but in the meantime, this is documenting just the advance payment out of our capital reserves.
And there is some money coming out of the ambulance EMS fund, as the township recalls. When we were finding usage for our ARPA funds, the board of supervisors had agreed to give $120,000 towards capital purchases for the ambulance company. The past 2 years, they have not utilized that, so we moved that into their funds. So the ambulance cost was $340,081. We have a state local shared account grant for $304,000. spoken about and during the 2025 budgeting season, and this came as a request from the Park and Rec Board. As the board is aware, we had the gentleman who was potentially getting awarded the contract come and speak at the Park and Rec meeting, explaining the proposal. It does fall out underneath the bidding requirements, so we can go with a single vendor. Members of the Park and Rec Committee also did an estimate about buying the equipment themselves, so the